Hey everybody, we back again.
We back. We're live and we like animals.
A little too much there. I'm Spencer. That's our licensed clinical therapist, Naz. Yep, that guy. Oof. And then, of course, we have our special guest for today. She is our licensed clinical. No, she's not. Not yet. She's gonna get there at some point. At some
Way
point.
too soon.
She's a mental health practitioner. It's
There you go.
Dominique. It's Dominique, everybody.
Hello. What?
Ugh.
Hello, Dolly.
God, on Broadway.
Sorry, I just was uncomfortable for a minute, so.
I know. I like
Fine.
to do that. This is the Different Spectrums podcast, where we talk about movies, shows, mental health, and we also try to have some laughs. So don't take us too seriously.
And if you do, please don't cancel me. Cancel Spencer.
And then go fuck yourself. All right. Also, don't forget to run up those likes for us. We'd really appreciate it.
After that, yeah. Like, subscribe, comment.
If they're hating, fuck them. All right. So
That's a comment.
yeah.
Yep.
So today we're taking a look at Kim's Convenience,
Ooh.
a Canadian show. Saw that. A Canadian show about a Korean store owner and his family. So for the first clip, we have Jung and Appa fighting.
Tense.
Jung, it's his he's finally graduating with his GED because he got in a little trouble as a kid. Got in a little trouble. So him and his dad have a very strained relationship because of his kind of checkered past, shall I say. And then the second scene, we have a character named Raj who has a fiance. Yep, there you go. He has a fiance, but he's cheating on his fiance with Janet, the daughter of Mr. Kim. Yep, there he goes.
Beat him.
Yep, beat him up. And we see a confrontation with Janet and Mr. Kim. So we see that. It's a good scene for, all those cheaters out there. I don't know.
I was also going to say, right in the heart.
I was going to say, for emotions, father figures, stand up for your kids. Yeah, cheaters, yeah.
Get confronted. You got dad crying and the daughter crying. So there you go. And then finally, we have our therapy scene with Mr. and Mrs. Kim, where Mr. Kim almost talks about his dad. Kind of does, but doesn't really. Scene probably could have been longer, a little bit more emotional, but they kind of cut that short. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Naz, anything before we get into the scenes?
I'm excited to pump some reels out when this pod comes out. They're going to be a bunch of random reels about a lot of random shit, and some of them actually about shit.
Well, you're just explaining the internet right there. So.
Yeah.
Jesus. Well, like he says in one of the reels, the internet's pretty much for ugly people and robots. So yeah, crazies. Oh, I put robots. Crazies.
Robots.
So only people that like our page are bots. So
fair enough.
Super excited to check out these scenes. Obviously, it's a major comedy. It's a comedy. But there's some really good intense emotions around the family dynamics. Appa, the dad, the patriarch of the family, there's a lot of good scenes with him specifically and all the arguments that he gets in with everyone. Some could say passion, or some could say him being a dumbass, and then him having to grow and kind of, do better and then apologize. I think it's a really good story arc over the seasons on how he grows as a person, as a dad. So let's check out these 3 clips. Let's come back. Chop it up.
Whoop whoop.
Woody whoop.
Whoop whoop.
We have a discount.
Episode 1, folks. All right. Let's check it out.
Check it out.
Hey, sorry, I didn't see you there.
It's okay. I just looking. Huh? Yeah, you work with lots of good car. Huh?
Thanks.
Yeah, Volvo, Audi, any Genesis?
Huh?
Genesis. It's Hyundai.
Yeah, a few.
I am happy for you. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Hey, Appa, why don't you join the party? I'll be right in.
What's wrong?
Nothing, I just need, Hey, you know what? Why don't we just go in?
No, you have a problem. Hmm? You have a 주름진, just like when you were a little boy. Huh? Exactly same.
Yeah, well, I'm not a kid anymore.
Oh, look, there's again.
Let's just go find Emma.
No, you tell to me your problem. I help you fix. That's what Appa do.
It's fine.
You always running away from your problem. That's your problem.
And your problem is you think you know better than everyone else, but you don't. You never did.
Okay? You solve a problem by yourself.
I've been doing that on my own for a while now.
Maybe you're not on your own if you listen to people who know better.
I'm not fine.
Then why you have 주름지? Why not touch you?
I don't need this.
You think I need this? Huh? Nobody needs this.
I'm going this way.
Yeah, that's why I go this way.
Hi, Mr. Kim. Is Janet around?
Maybe you not talk to Janet anymore. Maybe you not talk to anyone anymore.
Appa, I got this.
I'm so sorry. I should have told you about Divya, but I figured we both knew this was casual.
Sure, we weren't serious, but you were seriously not serious.
I know, and I...
Divya Badwar? We went to school together. What is wrong with you?
Janet.
Joe, I am not upset. I am angry. And sometimes I cry when I'm angry. These tears are not for you. They are for me, for wasting so much time with you. You just... Oh, my God.
You is a horrible boy who make a terrible choice. You don't deserve Janet. She is most special, most beautiful, most talented. These tears are not for you either.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. Or you.
Yeah. I think he learned his lesson, huh?
Thanks, Appa.
Come. We eat from our set food group, starting with cookie dough ice cream
And peanut butter.
and cheese doodle.
Now is called 5 minutes of soft eye contact.
What?
Put yourself at eye level with your partner and then gaze softly at them.
Okay, we stop now. Eye contact is dangerous, make everybody scared.
It's a powerful communication.
We communicate enough today. Maybe everyone think it's okay to talk about their problem. Or their daddy was always so busy, they never have time to listen or say, I care for you, or daddy I love.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, everything fine. But I think it's a waste of time to talk about your feeling and about the thing that happened a long time ago with a parent who not even...
What's happening?
It's a breakthrough. Or a breakdown. I don't know.
I say we vote him out.
We're not voting.
Well, my husband is the strongest of all husbands. He works so hard and never complain, almost. This is first time he ever talk about family or his daddy. And he made me so proud.
I think this is time for a healing circle. Everyone, come on.
It's okay.
Oh, please, no.
This is weird.
We're back again, folks.
Like,
Oh. Didn't know it was.
Oh, that's funny. All right, so we took a look at the first scene with Jung and Mr. Kim. Now, like I said before, they have a very strained relationship. As we see in the beginning of the series, Jung is out kind of all on his own. And we see that he had, he got in trouble a lot as a kid. And so traditionally for a lot of probably family, like especially in kind of Asian culture too, is they really want to have their kids be successful in monetary value and also in status. So seeing that Jung isn't really doing any of those things at the moment, he's kind of building himself back up at an older age. We really see that Mr. Kim is a little bit more disappointed than anything. We also see that they kind of have that strained relationship when Mr. Kim tries to implement himself into Jung's life, which I mean we can all kind of find a common ground with that. Kind of parents trying to a little overstep, even though we're telling them we're fine, even though we might not be, but they still try to help us. I thought it was a good scene, especially when you talk about parents and like their children, how you kind of communicate with them and everything like that. So, Dom, since you're the guest, what do you think of the scene?
Ooh, it was very intense. Just like them yelling at each other. Like I could not imagine raising my voice at my dad. Oh my goodness. So that was ballsy in of itself. And I think Jung realized that, because at first he was still trying to like keep a even tone, respectful tone, but then Appa just kept pushing that button and being like, oh, well, see, I told you, or like, see, you always do this, blah, blah, blah. And I think it was frustrating for Jung because like they haven't talked since he was 16. So there's a lot about Jung from 16 to his mid-20s, however he old is now, I have no idea, that Appa doesn't know, but Appa feels like he does know, like he claims to know way better than Jung does, which I'm sure he does know for some things, but they've been so disconnected for however many years. A lot of things about Jung that Appa doesn't know. So I think that is probably why Jung felt just like so aggravated and raised his voice. It also seemed like they may be a little too similar, like maybe like their personalities are too similar. They both seem very stubborn, hard-headed, what have you. So I feel like sometimes when two people are too similar, especially like father son, mother daughter, like if they're too similar, they butt heads. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's why they would butt heads so much when Jung was growing up, and him just wanting to explore a little more and not be super focused on school. And like Spencer was saying, Appa is very about wanting that success, and Jung is the firstborn, so that's like even more pressure, and he's the firstborn son. And I feel like in Asian cultures, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like having a son is way more valuable than having a daughter. I remember, I don't know about now, but I feel like in the past that was the case. So that could be part of it too. Like Jung, he's the son, he needs to be set up to take over the store or follow family business or do whatever successful thing, and he's the firstborn. So Appa probably wants Jung to be a good influence on Jane, who I feel like Appa still kind of babies a little bit.
Yep. For sure.
Nazir.
As season 2 or 3, I think it's season 3, there's some information that comes out about Kimchi as his best friend that he stays with, where he talks about how they would blame a lot of stuff on Jung, or like they would hide things, or like they would find drugs or like magazines, or they would find certain things in the house, right? And they would blame it on Jung, or something bad happened, they blame it on him. All his friends, they all blamed it on him. And so I think he got a bad name. He might have fucked up and done a few things. We all mess up. So his dad was super hard on him. I'm sure other people were hard on him as well. He believed he was a loser and dipped out. He's like, man, fuck this. And he left at 16, which is intense. That's like intense. It's not very common, at least not for any students that I see in college, to just dip. And then he's still pretty successful, and he's like got a job and stuff, got a boy, got a house. Like, I mean, he looks like he's doing good. I think this is Toronto, right? Toronto?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm like, Doing pretty good in a big city. Then he comes to this scene, and I was saying like there's a story arc where they're getting closer, right? And then, she's trying to get them to talk and connect, and the mom's always so fucking happy, and she wants it to happen so much, and she keeps pushing. It's the cutest shit seeing the women push these men together. And he's so proud that his son graduated. He's so proud to talk to his son, and then literally the worst fucking thing happens. Obviously this is all for writing, and they're setting up the storyline. I'm not sure if it would have went down just like that. I feel like a normal dude would have been like, yeah, man, just girl or something like that. I feel like he would explain what just led Jung to be pissed off or to cut his dad off.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it would have happened like that. So he freaked out when the dad tried to give him advice. He's like, back the fuck up, man. Calm down. I'm fine. I don't fucking need you. You weren't around for many years.
Mm-hmm.
But as Dom said, that shit got intense quick. Don't you touch me. I ain't touch you.
Mm-hmm.
Then they right in his face. I actually thought they were going to fight. And it's interesting because I've been in those situations with people.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in some situations with Pop where we get into arguments. Right, we've been living together since like 2009,
Right.
where we argue and you be yelling at each other, getting ready to kill each other. And then he's like, don't follow me. I wasn't following you, but you kind of were following that person. I feel like that's the issue with a lot of people is, you don't want to back down from this argument. The other person walks away. It's a weird fucking thing when you're in the heat of the moment with family members, boy, I tell you.
Yeah.
Sad moment.
Yeah, totally. And then also kind of going with Mrs. Kim. She's always she has a good relationship with Jung.
Yep.
So that's something I'll point out too, is that even though and Mr. Kim didn't really find out about that until a little bit later on, that she was actually still had a good relationship with him.
He was super sad about that, or super insecure, super jealous of when he found that out.
Yeah, I remember he was at Kimchi's place where Jung lives as well, and then he finds like the screensaver of like all like Jung, Mrs. Kim, and then Janet together. They get an ice cream.
That was so sad.
Yes,
that was so sad. Like you could tell how hurt he was, and I was like,
devastated.
Okay.
And then the next scene,
shattered.
He goes to, what's the daughter's name again? Janet. Goes to Janet. He said, how about we go get some ice cream at your favorite place? And she's like, okay. It's the cutest thing. It was cute. But you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because he's missing out on those family moments. Can't have those anymore with everybody.
He wants his son. Yeah, I think people get it twisted where he's like a piece of shit, Mr. Kim. He loves his son.
He loves him, but at the same time, he also knows that like A, I don't think he wants to overstep his boundaries, and then B, I also think that he's hard-headed as well. Like he doesn't want to, and I think he might be a little bit too scared to like have any confrontation because it might get worse somehow, where they just never talk again ever.
Yep.
So that's also a possibility. But
I kind of feel like Appa isn't afraid to step over those boundaries because, like, in the fight, Appa was like, I know everything. Tell me what's wrong. Like, obviously, I know what I'm talking about. I just feel like Appa, he's too old school, set in his old ways, not willing to take, like, a new, younger perspective. Right. And so maybe that could be why, among many reasons, why him and Jung clash so much, because Appa isn't able to take it from a different perspective, Jung's perspective, and probably same thing with Jung. Jung is not having the ability to take it from his dad's perspective either. So like they both would benefit from being able to see things from the other's point of view, have a little bit more empathy. But I do agree that Appa probably doesn't want the confrontation aspect.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely a couple times, I think before this scene, when Jung was in the store or was at home and he thought that Appa was gone, and then they like awkwardly run into each other and they're like, hey, how's it going? Good, okay. Like it was super awkward. So yeah.
they both want to be with each other.
Mhm.
They're both scared to make a move. They both don't want to make it worse, like Spence said, but they also don't know how to make it better. The one's hard-headed because his father couldn't love him the way he needed him to and shunned him and was tough with him. And the father wants to be tough on him in old school, but wants to love him more than his father did. And he's trying to teach him. It's a lot mixed into this dynamic. It's a lot of things going on, a lot of trauma going on, which we'll get into in the third scene. That's affecting the way that he parents now. I'm rewatching all the seasons, and so I'm on almost to season 4, so I gotta watch season 4 and season 5. If they were to go and keep on the trajectory that they're on, they're going to have a good relationship with each other. I just got done with the episode where they're playing ping pong together, and then they have another fucking massive fight.
Yeah.
And they were just going to play ping pong together because he wanted to be with his son, and then they get super fucking competitive, and then they fight.
Yeah.
It's like,
Ooh, I think I remember that one because the ping pong table's down in the basement.
Yep, it's in the basement. It's like, God damn it. It's very, I told you I marked it down on the whiteboard here. Shit is complex. They're all very complex characters that are surrounded in a lot of different things. At the end of the day, he's just a stubborn ass father that wants to protect his son, thinks he knows best.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, totally agree. And then I would also say that when they do kind of make up, it's like feels like they just kind of tiptoe around like their kind of emotions and everything and how they're feeling instead of actually just talking them out, because they both don't really talk outwardly about what happens or anything like that, because it feels like then they're going to get mad, or maybe they're going to have that emotional connection and they're just kind of at that point. I mean, you could say, you know, Mr. Kim is just too old school and doesn't want to get that emotional, even though we see him get emotional multiple times, right? But then you have Jung, who just wants to keep on having like that masculinity. Doesn't really want to let that go, and then feels like then his father might see him as less masculine, I think, even though probably wouldn't.
Yep.
But yeah, and so now you get them kind of tiptoeing around, and then they have these blow-ups where you just keep on tiptoeing around, and then something sets them off, and then they fight again, and then they stop talking, and then
because they never address anything. They never actually legit talk. Like when they first meet, and Jung thinks it's like this hot chick, and they have to go to like this club, this nightclub, and they end up talking to each other and having a Boilermaker, which is like a shot and a beer. That was pretty fucking funny. It's like, Jung, what are you doing here? He's like, you literally, like, you told me to come here. It's like, I thought I was talking to some hot chick. Like, nope, it was me. So,
hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got catfished by his dad by accident.
That's right.
Because Janet gave her his cell phone. Her cell
Yeah,
phone.
and Appa was so excited to be texting Jung. That's so
Yes. So it's complex, man. If they were just to sit down and talk, but I've had it where I can't fucking do it. And me and my father get into something, or me and a homie get into something, and I'm just like, you know what? We're just gonna not make eye contact and avoid each other for the next 5 days. Let it blow over.
Yeah, I've had the same thing with my mom sometimes, where we just argue and then just don't talk for a minute, and then we're just like, hey.
That's it. Yeah, it's the Irish in you. Just push it down.
Yeah.
You good? You good? Oh, you're not good. Okay, got it.
Nope. Okay, not looking me in the face. Got it. Yeah. I mean,
awkward times.
It is. It's awkward, and especially you just like, I've had it one time where I was like, I sat down to just try and say like what I meant and everything like that. It was just so awkward. I was just like, let's just have the silence and the fighting. Let's just keep that
healthy.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on the scene?
No, I'll tie some stuff up at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do the therapizing at the end.
All right. Let's move on to the second scene with Raj cheating on his fiance with Janice. Janice. He says Janice though sometimes. He's like a Janice. All right. So we have a protective father in Appa. And then we have Janice, who tells Raj that it's not him that's causing the crying. It's her cry. Not his cry, her cry. And then they both have similar angry cries.
I know, so cute. So cute, but
I
fucked
feel
up.
that. Mhm.
All right. So, Dom, what'd you think about the scene? And what did it bring up? Say that.
Tears. I was getting choked up a little bit because something about when Appa cries, I'm just like, wow, just like really hits me right in the heart. I think. Oh, there he goes.
Yep, that was our
Heart attack.
attack.
There he goes.
There you go.
Can you do one for me, Dom? Can you give me one? You got to do the 4-chin thing too.
Oh, I don't think I have that many chins.
Oh, fuck
I was
you.
wondering
Right,
if
show
I
off.
can't see.
Asshole. She got it at the end. Didn't
She
start
did
off
at the
strong,
end.
and then she
Yeah.
ended it.
I had to get into it. I felt, I had to work
You
through
got
it.
shot by a dart.
Yeah, she got shot like 8 times. Like,
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to kill me. Okay.
Okay, got it.
nope. Can't wait.
Anyways, between the two of you, yikes. Yeah, I think something about Appa kind of reminds me of my own dad, and just like, I feel like I said this before, but like Asian dads and Caribbean dads are very similar. I realized after watching Kim's Convenience, or at least Korean dads, maybe, and just like, man, a few words, very stoic. Definitely have never seen my dad cry, probably won't. So like seeing Appa cry, I was like, oh my god, this is so crazy. And
Men
just,
do
like,
this?
well, I know like men, but just like father figures. I was like, what?
Got it.
What? And what that made me think of, like Appa coming to Janet's defense, was the first time I got broken up with, and I was like super heartbroken. I was not okay. Tears, eating minimal food. It was a bad time.
Oh, wow.
I remember talking to my dad about it and didn't say much, but he was just, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he just wants me to like basically make the right decision while also like protecting my heart, because that's what he cares most about, is my heart and protecting that. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks, Dad. That's very nice.
Was there
And it
a
was a
hug
really
or
nice
anything?
moment. Probably not.
No, there wasn't like.
Not in that moment.
It's okay.
Not in
girl.
that moment. No. We had a different moment later once I started therapy. No. Put that away.
What the fuck?
No. We had a better moment later on once I told him I started therapy, and kind of going through the reasons why I was in therapy. And like I was crying and he was kind of emotional, and then we hugged, and then we ate dinner and watched TV.
Emotional.
And we haven't spoke to each other since.
No, I talked to him the other day.
And we never wanted to talk again.
That was the last time.
That was the last time. I was so embarrassed. He's never looked at me since. I was 3 years old.
If anything, I feel like it's made him more like, you know, I guess like more, not really like vulnerable, but like on the brink of that. Like we're towing the line.
Responsive.
On the line. I mean, he's always been pretty responsive, but I feel like his responses are more like emotional, I guess. Because like when I started therapy, like I feel like my dad had a better response than my mom. My mom's kind of like, okay, like she didn't really like know what to say. She didn't know what to do with that. And it's funny because my mom talks so much, like all the time. So that was kind of funny, but I love her, don't worry. But my dad, he was like asking me follow-up questions, and he was like, oh, like, is it because of like the divorce, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, partially, yeah, for sure. That's going to come up in therapy. And just like asking about why it feels like relationships have been hard for me. And I'm like, yeah, it probably has to do with the divorce. Yeah. So it was a good talk. And yeah, he's gotten better. I think he's gotten better. He's still himself and quite quiet, but he's gotten better. So
it takes time.
And especially something that he's not used to. Is definitely not a thing that was in his household. So it's kind of hard to do that for someone else if you don't know, if you never had that sort of thing.
International person of color. It's not a thing. Older. It's not a thing. It's just not. It was the older generation is tough and pulled himself up by the bootstraps type of vibe, and that crying shit's for like, and even the women don't even fucking cry. So it's different, different type of vibe.
Except for me, I cry all the time.
Yeah, well, you part of them soft Americans.
Yeah,
though.
you're the
Well,
younger
you wouldn't have
generation.
progressive
But
left.
the thing is, like, my mom was the same way when she was in Trinidad. So she, like, growing up, she said that she was the same way. Like, anything would make me cry. Anything.
Nice.
And the same thing with her. I've gotten better. I don't cry. I have. Okay, it used to be you think it's bad now? It used to be so much worse. So much worse. So
fine.
keep that in mind.
I literally cried I was doing an outreach yesterday and cried in front of a bunch of frat boys. I was like, and then they all put their heads down. And then I looked the other way and I go, so question over here. and then I was good. I regulated real quick and I looked back over and I said, I'm good now, brother. I just had to breathe real quick. And he's like, okay, Nas.
You just look over here. It's just a wall. You question.
But no, I feel like with my mom, like that generational curse sort of thing was able to break because my mom's a lot more sensitive. She created the environment for those emotions and for me to like feel those emotions and process them and do whatever. And so I feel like my mom, because she grew up kind of in the same way, I feel like my mom did like over correction. So like overly like letting us know like how much she loves us, how proud of us she is, blah blah blah. So I feel like I had a good balance,
No, gross. The fuck.
But because that's not a thing in the Caribbean household. So she did a little over correction. So it works.
Yeah. You try to mend the wounds, you try to fix the traumas, you try to be the person that you needed to be. Mm-hmm. You try to be the person that you needed to be there for you right when you were younger. You try to step up to the plate. Welcome to being a nurse, a teacher, a therapist, a doctor. We're all trying to be the ones that were supposed to be there when we needed shit. And then we're like, just help us.
Please.
That's the thing. This was a good scene. I thought he was going to hurt him. And then when he backed off and let her take the reins, I was like, good move. Let her be autonomous. Let her handle her shit. Look at you. She needs to fight her own battles. Okay, this is the new version of masculinity, because if you fight all her battles, now what? Now she's dependent on you. Now she can't set boundaries for herself and have good expectations, have good conflict, express anger and hostility, because we don't really allow women to express a lot of that in a healthy way. Most women, just not in general at all, because it's not feminine.
Or they'll be called a bitch.
Yes, hysterical, all this crazy shit. And I'm talking about the good, healthy anger. I ain't talking about like no stab, which we do not condone on this podcast.
Once again, gotta say that every time.
Every time.
It's just our thing now.
Oh, I think we're gonna put that on a shirt. We do not condone stabbing.
No stabby stab.
Do you need a shirt for that?
I mean, merch is merch. Merch is merch.
Hey, I want that stabbing shirt right now. I'm about to order 5 of them.
I'll stab you with the shirt. Shit.
By the way, visit our store. We have merch. We don't have a stabbing shirt yet, but we just might if you ask for it.
Order it or get stabbed.
That's right. Gotta pay the bills, baby girl. Gotta pay the bill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Don't I know it?
Completely lost train of thought.
I remember stabbing.
Oh, yep. There we go. So I thought he was going to be, he did good on letting her fight her battle. And then when he came back in and was like, she's so good. She's so intelligent. She's so beautiful. And his voice starts vibrating and shaking and getting choked up. I'm like, this dude's legit crying. This doesn't even feel like acting now. He went to a different zone. Let me tell this story.
There we go.
What did you say?
And
he said, let me tell you a little story.
I could not understand what you said.
Let me go ahead and tell you about this story.
Yeah,
it's always a black woman.
Close.
No, it's not a black woman. It's just a
always
fat
a
guy.
Southern black woman. Shut the fuck up. I'm a fat guy. Shut
I got the bosoms.
I haven't heard that word in a long time.
No one has. It's been like 50 years since anyone said that.
Yeah. Anyways.
I forgot what I was going to say again.
Exactly.
Story time.
You're about to tell a story in your Southern black accent.
There it is. Not that. Every time I go to gas up a student, I'm like, So like, I'm a piece of shit, and then they list all the reasons why they're shitty, and it'll be like a couple, like there'll be like one good reason. I'm like, okay, this you kind of suck for this one. Like you're kind of stupid. Like, okay. And then they list a bunch of bullshit, bunch of fake news stuff, bunch of stuff that's just societal bullshit and norms, and they can't assimilate, and so thus they hate themselves. And so at the end of the therapy session, right, at that first intake, they like to throw some stuff at them. Or I like to wait out, and it depends in a certain mood or vibe. It depends on how the session will go. That's when I'll affirm people about who they are, or who I think that they are. Or it's when I use my funny saying, and they said, you know what? Sometimes they just be looking at me. I'm gonna tell you something. Sometimes you see some clients and you're just so fucking stupid. And they look at me. What are you talking about? I said, y'all don't pay attention to nothing. I said, you got so much goodness inside of you. Kindness, funny, empathetic, intelligent. You're good looking. You got all your teethus. I always say it like that because that's how my mom says it. Got all this shit, and yet you're worthless. Now you tell me why you're fucking worthless. So I want you to give me one good reason, and they're usually sobbing, crying. Because it's weird for some of us to get compliments. And the reason why I said this, because I related to him in the moment, because I usually get choked up in this too, and that's when the students really start to fucking tink.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that is. Why I get choked up when I'm legit throwing the reality of who that person is in front of me.
I think you probably wish that they could see themselves the way you see
I
them.
see them.
Mm-hmm. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
And then I know that they won't, or I know that they don't, and it hurts to know that they're in so much pain, or that they're hidden behind so much trauma or depression. But yeah, when I throw some things back at people, if I'm just doing it in my robot phase where I'm just being therapist, it doesn't hurt me. But when I have those real moments, I stole that, you're so stupid, this and that. I stole that from there's a sitcom where a therapist talks. It's a doctor's an asshole. And he said, this is misery's wasted on you. And he's like, what are you talking about? And so that's why I take that thing. I make fun of him. I jab him in the head, and then I cut him deep because it gets their attention.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a piece of shit when I say that, but it gets their attention because I do think it's idiocy, the way people view themselves. But just like Appa did there, I end up breaking down. I think part of me is very protective too, because now they're hurting my friend. My friend is now the person that is sitting in front of me. I told a client the other day, I said, I ain't got no room on my roster for you, on my schedule. I don't. But now, since I like you, you made me fucking like you now. So now I got to find a place to fit you on my fucking roster. You did this shit now. And she just looks at me like, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry?
Question mark, but like not really, because I want to be your client.
Yeah, it's interesting. Because I wanted to transfer some clients off of my roster to put them with a different therapist or refer out, and then I was like, fuck, I'll work with you. I guess. I think it's a protection thing. I get so protective, and when I get protective, I get angry, and when they hurt themselves, I get angry. So when I get angry, the passion comes out, and that's where the tears come. Could be it. Like Appa just showed. Look at me therapizing myself.
Mm-hmm.
Look at you in the moment.
No wonder you've got that license.
Yeah. I use that a lot. Yeah, I wonder if that's what it is. I know other times, or when I get stuck in sympathy, where I start to get scared. And they start to spiral like Janet did. And then I start to get scared, and I can't find my way out in their story. And I'm visualizing everything, and I'm feeling suffocated. And then I'll start to get emotional, and I'll cry sometimes because I'm trying to find my way out to navigate it, but I can't. And so I'm drowning. So sometimes when I come with words after that, I'm like, what are you doing, kid? You got to keep fighting. So it depends. But that moment for me was good. I felt that emotion. I felt that anger. I've been that angry when I angry cry. I haven't done that in a long time, the angry cry. Thank God. That's just horrible.
I think it's been a while for me too. I can't remember the last. I had a frustrated cry not too long ago.
Yeah.
Like when I started, well, that was different. That was just like pure anxiety. That was not frustration. That was pure anxiety when I
Oh, it was
called
an
you.
anxiety cry.
Yeah, I was not okay. Like my hair was falling out. It was like a whole thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was like peak like school
Yeah.
stress. And I was like, I'm quitting. Goodbye. Why am
Yeah.
I'm fine now. I figured it out. But there was just like a lot of assignments happening at once, and I was feeling very overwhelmed. My self-care was not the best. And then I was working, and I think at that point, that was when the flood in my basement finally was finished, and then I got the carpets finally replaced, and I was back in my room, and there's just a lot happening. But
A lot
we're back
going
on.
on.
Yeah.
Sometimes me and Spence, if I remember and I'm not too lost in the sauce of my own stuff, I'll be like, so how's Dawn doing? She dying? She did? And he'd
I
be like,
think she did.
you made it through. You made it through.
I
I
made it
remember that
through.
he told me that. He's like, yeah, man, she's fucking stressed the fuck out. I was like, I told you. He's like, yeah, man, that bitch bald. Shit.
That's what it felt like. I was like, I'm losing my hair. That's how I felt. I was like, I have none left. It's all
He's
gone.
looking like Charles Barkley now. What the fuck?
Yeah, it was coming out in
God damn.
clumps. Damn near. God.
Jesus.
It's only falling out the healthy amount now. It's not coming out in the clumps like it was.
Thank God. Well, that's what I said too, a week later.
Stop. Well, I know I look good with no hair, so if it comes to that, I'll be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be fine, bald.
You could probably pull it off. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good shape.
It's a nice egg.
Yeah. Mine's like all lumpy and shit.
I'd just be like this all the time.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. I remember. Just.
Flip chrome dome.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a thing, those angry cries. I haven't done that in a while. I talked about on the pod we did yesterday with Serena. I talked about one of my interns broke down, right? Because they were relating to too much stuff and too much issues, and a lot of things were coming up. And so I literally just asked a mere question, and boom, they tanked. And I said, why don't you talk as the therapist, the group leader? And she said, I just can't. Every time I go to, I just start choking up. I said, shit, I've been there. That's a vibe. As a therapist, that's a vibe. That's a vibe. Like I said, I cried yesterday. We got choked up real hard. I got choked up even more with these boys because I wanted them to see me, a very masculine, large male. I was talking about making money. And I finally get this job. I'm doing my best not to fucking tank right now. I got this job. And then I was supposed to move here, get the money, get the bag secured, buy the house. Supposed to, Ma, we was getting better with a lot of stuff. Half brother, we was getting better with a lot of stuff. Ma dies. And it was like within 60 days, dies of brain cancer. That was tough. I was supposed to, fix that relationship and incorporate her into the life. And then, the same thing's supposed to happen with brother. He dies. It's like, fuck. And then, we get the house and, right, my dad's best friend, they're cousins, and he's like my great uncle or like third removed uncle, some shit. I don't know. I call him Uncle Joe.
Yeah.
He dies. I was like, you gotta be fucking shitting me.
Right.
So the only people that I kind of wanted to show some things off to, because the rest of the world means nothing to me, they're dead. So I was doing this outreach with my sororities and fraternities at my Latinx students. And two women asked questions. I said, ask away. What do you want me to talk about? And they said, we want you to talk about boundaries with family. So we talked about family, setting boundaries. People may think of you this way or that way. You have to save yourself first, work your way up, then you can give back to your siblings. You can be supportive and empathetic, but then also you can't be fixing shit. You got your grades to do. That way when you get out, then you can give back. So we did a lot of talking about boundaries and how people may villainize you for being the asshole that doesn't love their family, this and that. And I said, people thought I was a monster. Me. They think I'm the monster in the family. I said, ain't that a bitch? Okay. So I said, we all have to live with that. You have to live with what you can live with, and you know your real truth. I asked this other boy, I said, hey man, brother, I see you all the time on campus. What's your name? Says his name. I said, what about you? He said the same thing. And then I asked him to explain, and he couldn't. He got locked up in his throat. Two other women, they didn't get locked up and choked up and almost crying, so I started asking questions and talking. Then they were tanking. I diverted from them, went to someone else. I can pull emotions out of people. And in that moment, I was too embarrassed to say the thing about Ma because I didn't want to hurt those girls and that boy. To say that I set the boundaries with my ma, and then finally when I was repairing them, she died. I didn't want them to know that because I was too afraid for them to maybe not set the boundaries. It was, it's a coincidence that ma passed. They need to set the boundaries to save themselves. But who knows? Maybe I fucked up and made the wrong choice. I don't know. I saved two out of four. I don't know if it was my job to save any of them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the role I was put in. So it is what it is. So I got choked up multiple times in that session. I also remember telling my sorority I talked to, said, so got angry. And then I hurt some people when I was in undergrad. So it's fucked up. They said some shit and I hurt them. And you know what? I said I enjoyed it. That violence got to come out, all the trauma and anger got to come out, and I can put it onto someone. And then I changed my voice and a couple people shook. And then my boy asked, how did you feel afterwards, though? And I said, I never felt like a bigger piece of shit my entire life. I said, I got kicked out of school, sat in a jail cell, lost literally all my self-worth. And then not only was I depressed, I was suicidal. Not only was I suicidal, I actually tried to commit suicide. And so, like, shit goes down here real, real quick. And they're all just like, what the fuck? I said, when you got that shame and that guilt and that embarrassment, that's a tough son of a bitch to come back from, especially if you're brown. This is a brown family, right? You're a brown woman. There's a lot of shit that's in that. There's emotions, and we try to hide those away, and Jung tries to hide it away. Appa tries to hide it away. Janet's better with them, and then, right, that protectiveness gets to come out of him. Appa, and he's also a military member. He's ready to kill that motherfucker. I was ready to kill that boy.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did you cheat on her, but then you fucked over another girl that you're trying to marry.
Also, he kind of went into the store a little too confident, I want to say. It's like, probably should be having a little bit more, a little bit more. You shouldn't be as confident as you should have been walking into that place.
You ain't coming into my store. And so,
like, hey, Mr. Gill. Like, no.
So,
I don't know who you talking to.
It was a good scene, man. It was a good, very protective scene. I know I talked about a different couple of deviations of things.
Right.
I told you I was going to talk more when we do another scene next week about some of the talks that I had this week. Good to see good emotions. Good to see dads be emotional, but also let their kids step up to bat. I do the same shit in therapy. I remember a couple times, kid was like, said some stuff. I'm like, I looked at the kid. I said, tell me where the motherfucker lives. He said, Nas, I ain't going to tell you that. I said, tell me where the motherfucker lives. I said, me and my dad going to take care of this. So this kid's one of the kids that we mentor, lives out in Chicago. She's like, I'm not going to tell you nothing. I said, okay, you fuck up and slip out and find. I'm going to find the boy's name and then what? Yeah, you and your dad ain't going to do nothing. I said, my dad loves you more than I do. Sometimes you get mad, boy. I remember when she told me something, I started crying immediately. She's like, Nas, what's wrong with you? It's like, I don't even fucking know right now. I'm so angry.
That's so fair.
That's only happened once in my entire career where I just tanked before the student even finished what they said.
Wow.
And they were like, what's wrong? I was like, I'm getting ready to kill someone. That's what's wrong. It was intense. She was like, Nas, you need to calm down. It's like, yep, I've been trying.
Good.
It's not working.
It's not working. Stab.
Oh, stabby stab.
I do not condone violence.
Blah, blah, blah.
I feel like it's hard when you care so much, I feel like I care a lot. So I don't know if I ever would like really do anything, but there are certain people where I'm like, meet me outside. Okay.
I know I would yell. I know I would never touch.
One of my coworkers, I'm ready to fight.
See? Spence got one he's trying to fight too. Or at least yell at.
I have a few.
Lady that always fucks with him.
Oh, One has a little crush on you.
My God, no.
I was talking about the lady that always interrupts
she has a
him.
crush on me.
Oh,
and
I'm
I
convinced.
Want to throw up every time.
Yeah, it makes him.
Could be. Can give you one
That's
of my
what I
shots
think.
and you can just inject her with it, watch her die from it.
Yeah, no,
That
just
was intense.
So we're gonna have to delete this evidence.
I did not condone this.
you say that, but you're so specific.
I forgot we were
That was
recording.
too specific.
Just stab her
Watch
with
her
a needle.
die. Yeah, that was too specific.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck.
All right, let's cut that.
Yeah, let's go to the next scene.
On to the next scene.
Yeah, on to the next scene. Oh, that was a
cut.
weird cut. Whoa, great talk, everybody. For the last scene, it's the therapy scene with Mr. and Mrs. Kim, where Mr. Kim finally gets emotional about his dad. In previous episodes, he talked about his dad and how like tough he was on him and how like everybody else has it kind of easy, especially his own kids, because I forgot what the examples was, but he would always talk about how his dad would make him do certain things and all that. It's always like that older generation just being like, I had to walk out in the middle of a blizzard with bare feet and I had to throw newspapers, and you're like, all right.
Yeah.
Like I was fighting in the war and had, what's my dad talk about? My dad's like, your grandpa had to walk 3 days in the desert to get to work.
Yeah.
And then 5 days work, 3-day walk back. My mom like, I slept on a mattress with 8 people and picked fucking cherries. And you can't cut the grass? And I'm like, Jesus, Mom.
I just want to play video games. I'm sorry.
I'm a fat piece of shit.
Video
Leave me
games,
alone.
y'all would love it too. I'm telling you, you wouldn't want to walk through the desert if you had video games.
The most like my mom would say, I would say the most that she would say to me is that she was in labor for 36 hours, so I can do something for her.
There you go. Yeah, it's always the guilt thing, man. It's always like, I died for you. And I'm like, you were supposed to have children and give them better lives. Like, I didn't ask to be born.
That's what I tell her. I'm like, I didn't ask to be here.
Yeah.
You brought me here. You played yourself. What? No way.
I'm usually just okay. Okay. I'll go throw the trash out. Okay.
I mean, I end up doing it, but I'm like, I didn't ask to be here. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I do.
She does it.
I do.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Valerie.
Love you, Mom.
All right. Anyways, so this is a scene where, like I said, he gets emotional and everything like that. It's kind of tough because I think he's starting to really realize how just kind of messed up his childhood was, / how how maybe he's been treating Jung too,
and his wife.
And yes. And so it's a good scene for especially, seeing fathers getting emotional, but we've seen him get emotional a few times before that. But he's finally doing it with like his own father. And maybe he wished he could have had those conversations with his dad. But, like I said before, like a lot of Asian households, it's very, just do what you have to do. It's not really talk your feelings or anything like that. It's more of kind of do what you have to provide and make sure you get a certain amount of money or, make sure you have a certain status. So kind of going into that, what y'all think of the scene?
Me first. I can totally relate with the not liking eye contact thing. That
the eye contact as well.
Yeah. Like he didn't last for like 15 seconds. He was okay.
Nope. We're done here.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never really enjoyed eye contact. I feel like you're just like looking directly into my soul. It's just like way too much. So, especially when you're looking like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I usually try to get her just to look me in the eye sometimes, just to see how long.
I'll do it for like 3 seconds. I'll be like, okay, that's enough.
I'll let you
I've always
see
been
the
that way. I
real
don't really
me.
know what it is. I feel like working my job, I don't do that. That would scare them away. I feel like working mental health field, I've gotten
Patricia.
Trisha.
Keep continuing. I feel like
from
working my job, I've gotten better at it, but that's like with my clients though. Because I know that they also have a hard time with eye contact, and I want to make sure that they know that I'm being attentive to whatever they're telling me. So I'm usually trying to, if I can't look at their eyes for too long, I try to just like look at their general face. I like bop around. I just bop around their face, and just making sure that they know I'm directly at them. Beep beep. But that, and then just I think the tender way that Amma, Mrs. Kim, was looking at Appa, probably just like, I don't know if it like unlocked a memory or what, but I think she was just like looking at him just like so tenderly and lovingly, and it just made him remember something, or maybe made him realize like that is what he has always wanted and maybe still wants, but like from some other missing figure. And of course his wife can give him that, but there's still that missing piece from his dad that he never got, and he tries to like say it a little bit, and he's like, oh, nope, not gonna do that. And then he tries to continue again, he's like, oh, nope, can't do that either.
Group hug.
That was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
I hated that group hug. If I was in that group therapy session, I would not have enjoyed that. I don't know y'all hoes like that.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think anyone really enjoyed that. I think it was just the pastor who enjoyed that.
My emotions, like I don't.
Yeah. No, that's not a thing that happens in group therapy. We've never done a fucking group hug. I've done group hugs with students, right? But this was never a group therapy group hug. Yeah, no.
Well, she's also not like a therapist. She is kind of. She's a pastor. So.
Yeah, she's doing pastoral counseling.
Yeah, so it's different, right? So you're not going to get the same like, let's wait this out and see what happens. Like now she's like, let's end this now. Hug.
Yeah, she did not like that awkwardness. But aside from the group hug, I thought, I think you were saying it earlier, Spencer, that if they would have like continued on with it, it could have been like a really great scene. But it is a comedy show first and foremost, so gotta do what you gotta do. I think it was also interesting. It kind of made me think of how like, I don't know if I want to say taboo, but it's not very common. Might be weird for men to talk about their emotions. So that could have also, I know, Spencer. I know.
Can't even say it.
I know. So that's what also I thought of. And maybe even just like in Asian cultures, maybe it's even more looked down upon than like other cultures, so also having that, he has so many things working against him for these emotions that he's feeling, so he's just like, shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
So I see a high rate of international students at Purdue. A lot of Indian, Pakistani, a lot of Chinese students, Vietnamese students, not so many Korean students. I've had a few from Korea. Hilarious. Who'd be like, South Korea. I'm like, motherfucker, I know it's South Korea.
Obviously.
You're here.
South Korea, motherfucker.
Sometimes they escape, so you never know.
True.
Very few, though.
Very few.
I'm just
great students, very anxious, very high strung, very family oriented.
Nice.
Very community based. I would say a little bit more detached from emotions, a little bit more needing to process them is a little bit harder, and connecting the dots is a little bit harder. It's not really a thing that's talked about in families. So even like Black and brown families in America, I think it's another stage where it's not talked about, like mental health care and access and all that's not a thing in many of these other countries. So right there, Korean family, it's a little bit different. Definitely different for him being back in Korea and then being in the military and stuff like that. It's just a different vibe, man. And so he's processing some of that trauma that came up. And he did what I did yesterday with the boys, where I'm like, "Yep, question over here." Okay. It is intense. And then he starts crying, then they hug him. I would never allow people to hug me. I remember one time I was crying in my supervisor's office, and it wasn't even about me. It was about her and how our boss was screwing over her, our vice president.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw my boss cry. And then the next day we had like supervision where we all sat down as a team, us three, and it was me and my coworker on the couch and then her, and she was saying some things, and I was so fucking angry that I tanked. Like legit full on fucking tanked. Like, because I was like just ready to hurt someone. I was ready to run to a fucking wall. And then my coworker like rubs my back and I just fucking lost it. I was like, God damn it, why did you have to touch me? So then I was like uncontrollably fucking crying, man. Fucked up. They were obviously that was like a trauma response or some shit like that. I couldn't protect someone that I wanted to. So it'd be if someone like fucked with my brother or my nephews or my cousins or my dad, then you're like, well, Boogeyman gets to come out and play now, boy.
Jesus.
And they couldn't come out in that office. And then she also, remember, you're not going to do anything. And I just had to sit there in my anger and stew in it. I think that's maybe the first time I've ever had to stew in my protective anger.
Mm-hmm.
Then they hugged me. I was like, you bitch.
You bitch. How dare you
for trying
me?
to have emotions and shit.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
Just let me be murderous
Validate
right
my
now.
emotions? Ugh.
Yeah. Fuck.
I want to rage.
Yes. So that was intense.
Really?
Intense. It's so complex, man. I talked about him, right, being international, being a dude. We already went over it multiple times now.
Right.
I feel for him to have that moment gave you a deeper understanding of him in the show. So what would be some diagnoses? So I'm going to get into a little bit of the therapizing.
There it is. Sympathizer.
Yeah, because we're getting close on time now. We talked about some of the emotions, him being passionate, family-oriented, protection. We dipped into some of his trauma issues with his own father, maybe with the war, maybe with the loss and insecurity of a son. That's a trauma. Your son leaving you, that's a trauma.
And your firstborn at that.
Complex grief, complex loss. As Spencer said, there's a lot of different stuff wrapped into that. Why you want to talk to him, don't want to talk to him, you want to connect, you don't want to fuck it up. And that's why me and him, when we have those arguments with our family members, we're just like, we good? We good? Do we talk to each other now?
Yeah, certain family members.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, babe.
Certain. Yeah. The other ones, you're like, I hope you fall.
Just leave it.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
We talked about complexities. We talked about the different races and being international or being Asian. So diagnosis for him would be no diagnosis at the current time. But I would say that some of the small traumas that he's had has affected the way his personality is with his family, his inability to communicate until he blows up and has to recover. If you're looking at the origins of comedy, is a very binary thing where it's between a man and a woman, the trials and tribulations in the relationship. So the origins of comedy were started on that definition. Man, woman, their relationship, and make shit funny.
Mm-hmm.
So technically that's what they're doing. It's the ebb and flow of their relationship, and you laugh at a lot of things. Then it's the ebb and flow of his kids. So it's a good comedy. I would assume his daughter's got a little bit more generalized anxiety. I would assume Jung has tons of different like dad issues and trauma issues, insecurities, thinking that he's stupid, unintelligent. There's a lot of different trauma that's going on inside with him. When I say trauma, I don't mean everyone got trauma. Everyone's traumatized. Shut up, you assholes.
Sound like an old Italian man.
Oh, that's all these racist.
Come to me on my daughter's wedding.
Exactly. Yes.
All right, God. All right,
Well,
Corleone.
that's how I
Calm
read
down.
the voices on Instagram and YouTube that just shit on our podcast. Everyone's traumatized. He doesn't have PTSD trauma, but it's shit that lives within him that will fuck up his other relationships, Jung. That will mess up Janet's relationships. There's things that will reverberate throughout the eons. So I was talking to the boys yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I know you a bunch of good men in here. Couple of y'all shit asses. I can tell. A lot of good men in here. I said, we talked about unmasking because this boy said he puts on a show for everyone. And I don't think a lot of people knew that. He's the funny guy like me. And we talked about that, him being Indian in this all white fraternity. And I said, I show people who I am. I find that weirdo that laughs at whatever jokes I say. And I'm like, yeah, we friends now. I said, a couple of you have been laughing at my jokes. You, and you. I fuck with you. We would be friends if I was one of your frat brothers. You, young man that I'm talking to right now, I don't fuck with you. You weren't paying attention. You were talking and running your mouth when I was doing my thing. And he was like, what the fuck? Now that you told me about some stuff and I can see that you got ADHD, and I see you're highly intelligent, young man. Anxious maybe as well. Now I'm cool with you. Now it explains why you were acting like that, being a little avoidant and stuff. I said, I get it now. He was like, locked on now. Because he got put on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm talking to all you, right? And I'm talking about personalities and acting like a man, masculinity, and talking about empathy, love. And they're like, but men don't want to talk about this shit. How do I get my boy to talk about this? I said, why don't you try fucking listening? I said, if you can't find someone to open up about these things, to talk about these things, you need to be that guy. I said, I didn't ask you to ask fucking Timothy on how he's doing. Fuck Timothy. I saw how he cooked those steaks that you were just eating. Bastard. This is the nastiest steak I've ever seen in my life. They had a cookout. They had a cookout. I was roasting the steaks. I said, I'd never eat that shit either. One kid said, that fucking thing's still mooing.
Jesus Christ.
And then I said, well, your boy Bobby there, that's your boy. He acting funny. Why don't you cut into him? Hey, man, you good? Want to go have a beer? I didn't say you got to do something real feminine. Like, let's talk about emotions.
Why do you sound like that?
I'm talking about emotions.
That's exactly
Cookie.
that's how I go to my friends. Let's talk about emotions. Yeah. Emotions.
Yeah, she does that thing too.
See, that's how women do it,
Let's do it, guys.
You want to talk about emotions?
Oh my God.
So I said, cut into your boy, man. Have a beer, sit down and talk. And I said, you really want to fuck up one of your boys? Remember something that he said a couple of weeks ago and ask him how's it going with that. It'll completely fucking blow his mind. He's like, damn, you actually paid attention to that? I said something that I've learned. I love and remember these random facts and things about people and humans. I don't fucking care about these things. But I know people really like them, so I'll bring them up. And they're all like, dude, you're kind of fucked up. I said, it makes me a good therapist. I know to have conversations and to build intimacy with people. I've had some of my best intimate moments after we play basketball and we're just hanging out. Best moments of manhood and bonding.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was talking to these young boys about that, right? And then I shared some emotions, right? Got choked up. And I'm trying to show them the way. Why? Because I said, some of you motherfuckers going to be real depressed.
Right.
Middle age, you're going to be real depressed. And they said, what are you talking about? I said, highest rates of suicide, middle-aged men. We don't make friends. We're done. But we're not going to do that. Women will talk about emotions.
Talk about emotions.
But man, we ain't going to talk about it. We'll sit in our whole depression, solitude, and that's it. What's the point of trying, right? Where everyone, we just don't, we cut off contact. I said, so I'm trying to save one of you fuckers' lives in here right now, today, at this fraternity house. I'm trying to save one of your kids, because maybe I don't even give a shit about you, actually. I really care about your children, how you're going to fuck them up. So be kind, let them talk, let them validate their emotions, because they asked what's the difference between the genders. I said, validate their emotions. And when they actually break down with you, don't be some asshole. Actually, let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Groom them to be good people. Go backwards. So this was that one. My one I did with the sororities in the multicultural groups. There was a boy that came up to me at the end. Said, hey man, you said that thing about men like committing suicide when they're middle age and they have some of the highest rates, right? And so he said, my grandpa committed suicide. My dad was 12, and my grandpa went to the barn and then he never came back. And I was like, fuck, dude, you good? He's like, no, I'm good. But your talk today solidified some things, and now I can talk to my dad about how this is like a real thing, and I can check in on my dad now just to make sure that he's good. He's a middle-aged Jew. And I'm like, yeah, brother, if you need anything, like, here's my card, let's talk. So I'm good, man. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you. And he said, I enjoyed that you were so vulnerable and open and emotional. I said, yeah, I almost cried a few times. He said, I seen it. He said it was cool, man. I'm glad you showed that. I said, all right, brother, if you need anything, let me know. He's like, I'm good, but just wanted to let you know. I said, all right. I can't imagine walking up to some random dude and being like, yeah, man, it made sense on what happened with my grandpa. I was like, fuck. Blew my mind.
All right.
So maybe he'll form a deeper connection with his father, and now his kids and his children, he'll be aware of that this shit could happen in his life. And if he doesn't reach out and have these connections and bonds, it could fuck things up.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine Appa 10 years from where he is, probably destroys, if he didn't like get better as a man, as a father, destroy the relationship with Janet, probably end up being divorced from his wife, and then never talk to his son. You're going to be pretty fucking depressed and suicidal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember telling the boys, we talked about Robin Williams. I said, this is kind of fucked up, but I said, just like Robin, when he couldn't make people laugh anymore, his depression got even worse. His dementia was horrific, and he committed suicide. I said, I don't really see a point to life if I couldn't make people smile. They're like, what? There's so many. I get it. There's a lot of cool fucking things. Don't worry about me, assholes. We talk about emotions.
Don't worry about me, fucking asshole. All right, Louis Armstrong, chill out.
God's
great.
You're beautiful.
Hey, that was pretty good.
Oh yeah. One voice is shot. I like making people smile, right? When you smile, Spencer smiles, makes me feel good. When I get a whole group of fucking people to smile, just whoop.
Right.
I'm riding a fucking high afterwards. I'm like, yep. Walking outside, bouncing around. I'm telling you, I feel like I'm 150 pounds again. I ain't been 150 pounds since like 6th grade.
Bruh.
I'm light as a feather.
How long have you been depressed for? It's been a minute. It's wonderful to see people smile and to maybe learn some shit. And so you look at Appa, and I think about a dude that if he doesn't change shit, he will be very depressed and suicidal.
Mm-hmm.
So his story arc is pretty cool. Every episode, I'm like, don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up. And he fucked it up.
Yeah.
But he's learning. He's taking it in, and he always realizes in the end, or maybe sometimes an episode or two, that like, okay, maybe I could have reacted to that better. Okay, maybe I could have phrased this thing better. Even though I still think I'm right, maybe it could have gone a different way. So I feel like he is learning, and he's taking into account like all of Janet's emotions and like how she's going through it, and then hopefully trying to figure out in his head how that could work with his relationship with Jung.
I also think you're right when you talk about the different genders too, right? Is he's trying to learn up from his fuck ups from Jung, and also since she is the youngest and also a woman, he's able to like be more feminine with her, more emotional, more connected with her, even though he's still a shit ass half the time. But he does better with her. And I think like a lot of my clients will say that as the babies, they get a little bit easier treatment. Easier treatment.
Can you confirm as the baby?
I get everything I want. Everything. I want it all.
And he gets it on.
Baby want breast milk.
I hated that.
And on that note, anything else? Anything else before we end the show? Because
baby need a diaper change.
Okay. All right. With that, thank you everybody for watching. We really appreciate it. We watched Kim's Convenience today. Like, subscribe, all that stuff down below. Check out our merch. Check out our website. All that fun stuff. I'm Spencer. That's Nas. Thank you, Dominique, for joining us today. And that's the Different Spectrums podcast.
Bye.
Check it.